Have you ever looked into a game out of curiosity due to one of its factors, knew it was in your genre, but still felt hesitant to play it because of one reason or another? That was me with No Straight Roads for a good few weeks. Always admiring it due to how nice it looked, how fun it looked to play, and the music. Wait. I'm not here to gush about the music, but I will get to it eventually. Just you sit tight, T. Carino. But before we get to any possible gushing, let's get started with the formalities when it comes to talking about video games, and that means development! Okay, so Metronomic is a Malaysian indie game dev studio founded by two men, Juan Hosmer and I'm sorry. Their first game? The very game you're watching a video on. Funnily enough, when the game was shown at TGS 2018, Yuno and Mother were the first to be shown off. Once it gained worldwide success, it was given more demos and thus more bosses, and one of those bosses was DJ Subatomic Supernova, along with the tutorial stage. Now, when 2019 rolled around, the Japanese voice cast was shown off, and the guest musician Masahiro Godspeed Aoki was announced to be working for the game. Man did work for Sengoku Basara, Astral Chain, Street Fighter V, and Final Fantasy XV Multiplayer Comrades. Neat little tidbit on the side too, the anime man himself voiced a character in the game in both English and Japanese, which you will be talking to him. Trust me, if you want more out of the game, you're gonna be talking to him. Also, speaking of Japanese, Jun Fukuyama voices Zook in the Japanese dub. Can I get Roy with drumsticks, please? Okay, fast forward a month, October 30th. The Paris Games Week showed off the French voice cast, as well as the rest of the bosses, along with Clyde Rabatail, I butchered that, I probably fucking did, being brought into the game. Now, as time went on, more was revealed, like the rest of the English cast, and in general, the game was becoming more and more complete as time went on. More ports were announced rather than just being for the PS4, but yeah. I'd imagine the PS4 and PC versions were the most stable.
Dude, go away!
Okay! You'll see what I mean in a minute. Now, the game would have released earlier this year of 2020, but due to coronavirus happening, it was pushed back until August, and that's mostly due to, like, the development having to be shifted, and just, in general, Corona just halting everything. Now, when the game did release, it garnered itself some interesting reviews. For the most part, it's reviewed decently across the other big gaming news outlets like IGN and GameSpot and so on and so forth, but from other players and through Metacritic, this is where things start really being mixed. Like, some people really like it, other people's have a lot of problems with it. Well, if we're gonna find out why some people think the way that they do, why don't we have a look at the game and see if any of their thoughts are justified.
Yes! Now you're talking!
NSR is a game that starts out with a relatively strong and charming introduction, with Mayday and Zook broadcasting that they're going to bring back rock amidst an mostly EDM-ruled city. They do the recording, run out, show their stuff, and from their spectacular performance, they get denied accordingly. Mayday blows it way out of proportion and tells the main judge of the competition, Tatiana, to go and shove those X's right up her. The only thing to do now was walk out and... Today. Okay, that was a bit of a coincidence. Well, seems like NSR is being a shitter, and Mayday is a bit of a passionate gal with a heart of fire, and Zook is just here for the ride. And what's the ride we're going on? Anti-EDM revolution and invasion of property! Okay, I'm gonna be frank here. The story only ever really goes anywhere during the after-boss cutscenes, because once you're in the main gameplay loop of go here, do this approach, fight this boss, you're pretty set on that path until you get to Tatiana. Despite the fact that you really get into the story in like 3 different ways, it's still a well-paced adventure that's sure to make you laugh and also sometimes be genuinely heartfelt, mostly with Yuno, Eve, and Tatiana. those fights fill those rules entirely. Anything that happens in between is either the mid-fight cutscenes that lead into more of the fight, or general dialogue between characters around Vinyl City. And trust me, there's a wide plethora of characters you'll be seeing throughout the areas of Vinyl City. In terms of the game's whole narrative, it's simple, digestible, and pretty good for what it sets out to do. Now, the gameplay is what you're coming to an action game for. For this game, it does what it wants to really well with a few hiccups on the way. Okay, so the game advertises itself as an action rhythm game, yeah? Now, what does that mean for this game in particular? Well, it's an action game with rhythm elements, and from what the tutorial tells you, that's something you're gonna have to listen out for. Listening and getting into the vibe is an important part of dodging and parrying attacks accordingly. But what about the action part of this action game, Blim? Well, think of Devil May Cry 1 meets a platformer, and there you go. Mayday and Zook move really responsively and aren't that much of a pain to really control. The game is simple, but it has its own brand of difficulty. Mayday does damage, while Zook does combos. That's what the tutorial tells you, and it's the truth. Mayday hits as hard as DMC1 Dante, while Zook is out here playing with a damn force edge in terms of damage. Both characters have their own brands of utility, and leveling them accordingly can really help them in making the characters feel stronger and help the other out in a variety of ways. Both characters can take musical notes and use them like bullets from a gun, and only really for enemies that are marked, and even then, they're out of reach to really do anything. This is useful as some bosses really make use of the ammunition system. Two things to mention. You have a leveling system by gaining fans and doing well at the end of every boss, or even helping out around the town by gathering quasas and lighting the city back up. Leveling up your characters can do incredibly useful things that either pertain to your mobility, or even giving you projectiles after every successful parry and enemy kill. The other thing is parrying fucks! Let me explain, okay? So if you've ever played the Dark Souls of Run and Gun, Cup Souls, then you know that pink means parry. Same rule here, except it's now to the rhythm of the song you're playing, and these parryable attacks come in all shapes and sizes. The game claims it's an optional mechanic, but DJ and his Raging Death would like you to reconsider that. But then again, that's the only time it's ever really required to be used. Aside from DJ Subatomic Supernova and his final phase, parrying is an optional mechanic that's there for bonus points and bonus damage. If you're going for good ranks, it's a part of the game that you're gonna wanna get good at, since the payoff for learning and getting good at parrying is immense, as it leads to really nice chunks of bonus damage, and once you get the necessary upgrades, will allow you to really push your advantage and get through bosses a lot quicker, therefore getting you a lot better grades. Although, if we're gonna be talking about the bugs pertaining to parrying, its range is sometimes really fucking wide! The E-fight is a product of this, but in every other fight, it's just fine. Some bosses make use of parrying better than others, and you know what? Speaking of the bosses, let's be honest, you're mostly here for the bosses and their music, so let's go through them sequentially and make sure we come to an understanding of each fight. Alrighty?
You know who I am. I am DJ Subatomic Supernova! My music will reach the furthest corners of the galaxy. What have you done today?
This is the first real boss fight in the game, and it's a relatively easy one, but can still get you if you're not prepared or aren't too good at taking visual cues. DJ is a pompous asshole who only really cares about himself, even in the collectible pieces of him. Speaking of those, these are for every boss, and you get them from beating them, being able to hit a level 2 Transformers in their city, and beating them on Crazy Mode. The collectible memorabilia gives everything that you need in terms of where they were beforehand, or anything pertaining to them. Basically, it's collectible lore. Now, aside from the collectible lore, DJ is a really fun fight. He is an amazing first glance on how the rest of the bosses of the game really play out. His first phase is simple though, destroy the planets, and then you're able to show him your Second Amendment rights. His second phase takes the first phase and amplifies it by making the planets more obstructive and dangerous while using the literal space around him as a weapon. Beating this phase is the same as the first, but you've got to start dodging and waiting around a bit more. Third phase is where he gets dangerous. Galactic lasers, meteors doing more damage, and railing you with planets! Please pay attention and you'll be fine. Final phase is where parrying is mandatory to kill him. Listen out for the beat and parry accordingly, then you'll be able to there's only one way to end this.
Right you are, Zook! Red light!
Green light!
As stated earlier, he's an amazing first taste of the kind of fights you'll be getting yourself into. Escalating and dynamic boss fights. His fight is actually one of the most consistently well kept together fights, even on multiple playthroughs. In both of my playthroughs, DJ never really broke all that much in comparison to the others. So, in terms of how his fight plays out, it's very stable. Now that we sent this man to where he truly belongs, and we told Tatiana that we're coming for her and her days are numbered, it's time for Moe. But before we can get to Moe, we gotta do the approach stage first. Approaches are the platformer bits of the equation, and they're all relatively short. Just kill the enemies and hit those transformers. These are done from Moe Blah all the way up to the second to last boss in the game. There are no grades here. This is mainly meant to build the atmosphere and really give you an idea of the kind of vibe each artist is packing. Now then, god fucking damn it. Sayu is something akin to Hatsune Miku, a musical AI with fans all over. Her branch of music is cute core? What the fuck? What is this shit? Fucking hell. Overly cute and bubbly, all about love and with an annoying onomatopoeia. Her origin dates back to one of the artists making fan art of her. Soon enough, the team that made Sayu what she is came together and started making music. All of this started over fan art and music videos that soon became a contract with NSR. The fight starts out with a chase with Sayu. A zoner's paradise you are, you moe fuck. Anyways, it leads into the second phase where the fight actually starts. Second phase requires you to use the Transformers to rail yourself over to specific sections of the fight in order to attack her at her core, the team! Attack the cores, head back, get to the next one, then boom, onto the... Wait a minute. Onto Idol Virgil's next phase, where she does what she did in the second phase, only... she's a lot more aggressive about it. Once you break all the cores, she gets motivated, and this is the section 2 of the final phase, where she reverse mermaids herself, and the fight just becomes parry and get ammo. Be mindful here, because this section is an actual clusterfuck of projectiles. Eat your heart out, Velvet. Once you beat her, it's time to unplug her and get on with the next fight coming up. Stay in school, kids, and always stay in touch with your friends. Huh? Oh, wait, huh? Oh, I thought we were gonna get to fight Yino. What the fuck? Oh, fuck. Okay, so before we get to the best fight in the game, we gotta play a rhythm game. But this time, it's all about avoiding the notes and surviving the entire song. DK West 1 is the only mandatory fight with him. West 2 and West 3 are both optional. Personally, I've yet to get past West 2, but man, lasting against a song that lasts nearly 10 minutes? That's fucking painful, man. Jesus Christ. Now, you learn about DK via the songs themselves, through how Zook and DK go back and forth between verses. Although, even in DK1, there's a healthy amount of bad blood between these two. Once you defeat DK West, he'll just out of the scene, and Zook gets pissed. Again, these sections later on are really tough, but optional. An apparent bug that makes these fights that much harder is that there's supposed to be food that spawns out onto the tracks, but I see no hand foods here, Chief. Anyways, let's move onwards and get on to the best fight in the game, boys! A literal child is the next fight? Well, time to crash this 9-year-old's recital, I guess. The fuck is a never mind. Time to avoid some music and show this child and her piano what rebellion means! Oh, her mother is here for the second phase of the fight. How lovely. Okay, look, I'm gonna stop goofing about. This fight is unironically the best in the game, bar none. And its means of ramping up and changing is less about Yino herself, but her overbearing mother. The second phase is a focus on the both of them, where they either do attacks together or Yino is still in the forefront, while her mother awaits to strike. Just break the strings and go for the mother when you can. The third phase is where Mother becomes more of a main threat here, while Yino is still doing her thing, but this is where paying attention and watching out is really recommended, as her mother hits like a damn truck. Break the strings again to plant the piano down, and this time it's Mother and just Mother, with Yino really getting overshadowed by her. This fight never really was about her. It was about her overbearing mother taking over her life and being relegated to the background of pretty much anything. Once you beat some sense into her, you're about to end it until Yinu retakes center stage and goes ballistic, much like a child would. The real showstopper is breaking the piano and putting it mostly out of commission. And once the dust settles and things are... You know what? I'm just gonna let this settle.
No.
Oh, man. You imbeciles!
Uh-oh.
You imbeciles! You've ruined everything! Do you have any idea what you've done?
Oh, you're still talking? Why don't you come here and say that to my face? Bring it! Bring it!
This fight, it's the best, as I said earlier. Its music is phenomenal. It tells a story much like Sayu, and it even leaves off on the two and their song. Parrying, transformer use, ammunition, flow, this fight has everything and it keeps it all moving. There is little stopping you in this fight. It's all action from start to finish. Now, we have to move onward and evermore. So, Power Ranger boy band with a militaristic leader at the helm? That's the fight, and whoo boy, is it a great one. Albeit a step down from Yino. There is no backstory to these boys, so there's not much to delve into with them. The first phase is simple. Bust the bots, and then your boy Neon J comes out to print more stunning boy bots, and then the real fight begins. Second phase is all about busting these bots, parrying the shots, and shooting down Neon J when he's gonna bot some more boys. Mind the shields and get them while their shields are down. Neon J is the real ringleader of this band, so it's time to bring him out and oh, Jesus Christ! Phase 3 is just survival until they get their pictures taken as per usual, and then here comes Naughty J, center stage! Final phase is fighting Nani himself and the boy bot battery. It's a lot of dodging and waiting and shooting. And once Nani J and his boy bot goes down, so does he.
Finish the job.
We're not here to finish you.
I know you broke Inu's piano. You're here for my factory, aren't you? Just do it then. Do it!
What are you talking about? We just want to...
Fine! Go ahead and break my troops. But know that you'll never break my spirit!
Do robots get injured? How is he even coughing?
I'm a cyborg! And the coughs? The blood that I spilled through my mouth?
Mouth?
I do it for NSR!
Okay, where we're just gonna head home now.
Home? I remember what home was like. I dream of a day where the children can run innocently on the streets again, their eyes glittering with jubilation. So I made a promise to myself, a promise to bring peace back to my people. And until that day...
He welches on about a war, and funnily enough, that's his backstory. And the toys he made led to the eventual sign-up with NSR, and even the creation of 1010. And if we're going to talk about anything pertaining to bugs, had the game crash on a stream once during this fight.
So much. The things that I've done in the name of NSR. I would not wish it to my worst enemy. When I... Hey! I'm talking to you two! Where are you going? Do you think what you're doing is right? What is it that you guys fight for?
Now, to move on to the last pawn of NSR's empire. Okay, Eve is a special case in terms of her significance, since she actually has a really strong connection to Zook. They had a history together, and if you intend on finding things out, either by exploring and taking a look at the optional dialogue around her part of Final City, or just by paying attention to the dialogue mid-fight, Eve is a very emotional person.
It is not done yet. I hate you! Curse you! Why? Now it is done.
She expresses her thoughts and emotion through a variety of artistic methods. One of those methods of emotional expression was...
Now we tie each of them with a string.
Like this?
Yes, perfect. Next, we hang them bit by bit. And it is done!
Wow, that's beautiful. How about we take a photo together?
Oh? Yes, okay. Smile!
Sometimes she's abusive.
I have not heard from Zook for 3 weeks now. The last time I saw him was during our last performance. I was illuminating his hair with bright lights, and he started yelling, "No, no, no, what are you doing?" And then he ran away. Gone.
Sometimes she's delusional.
What? No. No, no, no! How can your links be ever so strong? Unless the two of you formed your bond through mutual hate? Your hatred for me? You are one of them, Zook! You fear me! As you should, for no one escapes the diva's wrath.
Sometimes she's just trying to find the means to really express herself.
It seems like whenever I try to open my doors to someone, I only create more complications. Is there no one out there who understands me? Am I truly alone in this world? No, I refuse to believe this. I have made my decision. I will bring the people of Vinyl City to my level. It is time I expand their minds and push their imaginations to greater heights. It is time I unmask them to new thoughts and concepts. This is the only way for me to find my like-minded brothers and sisters.
To really understand who she is and how people view her. Her art is incredibly abstract and will require a relatively good understanding of her to really understand it all. Much like when you seek out the objects in her part of town with Mayday and Zook. May is like me and just says, poggers? When she sees something of Eve's. Meanwhile, Zook is retrospective and really understands her. Now, on to her fight. It's a relatively messy one, but bear with me here. Phase 1 just comes out to you beating the shit out of Eve as she lets her hands swarm you. It's a bit of a chase fight, but it changes once you get her down a health bar. Break through the glass, and you're on your way to Phase 2. May and Zook are split up, but it's okay, because this phase can be cheesed to hell and back. But this phase would have used the fact that switching to either May or Zook would change the part of the fight you're in if she escapes. Break more of the glaive and you'll be brought into the third phase, which is more of the second phase just with a few more things added onto it. This is the part of the fight where Eve breaks the most and lashes out the most. Once this phase is done, you gotta bring the junction back together. Do that, and the fight is truly over.
You and everyone else are just intimidated by my talent. All of you are cowards. Always.
Okay, so Eve gets sucked into a vortex world, and it's up to Zook to truly set things right with her, ending out on a more somber cover. This fight is the best in terms of trying to tell a story. You'd have to look a bit deeper and read between the lines, but the material is all there, even at the end. But as a whole, just be aware and take advantage of what you can during this fight. Now, let's finish what we started in this revolution. We're here, we're finally here, and at the end of our journey, time to—
You have no clue how this city works. You didn't compete with my artists on a level playing field. You merely set up a circus act by hijacking their concerts. It swayed public opinion, all right, but it was all flash. In truth, your music revolution agenda is nothing more than an act of improv.
Alright, bitch, time to clean your clock. The revolution comes to a head today! Okay, clock blades. Metal. Metal as fuck. Is that the rock stage? The ghoulies? And the bitch is on fire? And this song is just straight rock from here on out? Okay, so jokes aside, this fight is rough, but you can get through it. This is also one of the fights that bugs out the most. Phase 1 is just turning that clock and beating the shit out of it while avoiding Tatiana. Get that knob over, and then the real Phase 1 starts, where she starts to shoot fireballs and port around. Learn the timings when to get a punish on her after the blade swings. Even on normal, these fucking things chunk your life! Maybe in Zook, more like Ragnar and Noel. Fucking no life having asshats. Anyways, once the mural breaks, then Phase 2 is here, which is just more of the same with different dialogue. Phase 3 comes around once the stage makes its rounds and really tells you what Tatiana was. And if you're like me and more focused on the fight, then the actual shit happening around you... Yep, this should be the final phase of the fight where Tatiana is set on fire and the ghouling stage really makes its appearance, telling you who Cool Fyra really is. Now at least. The fight is all about the past and time repeating itself. At least, that's what I want to think with the repeating lines of dialogue mid-fight, even though that is just bugs, I'd imagine. Once you land the final showstopper, everything comes to light.
Whoa! Whoa! Ah! It's Cool Fyra's guitar!
Oh, the guitar was powering the crown?
Hey! Why the heck do you have a guitar? Are you the reason Cool Fyra disappeared?
This makes no sense. Why would she—
Answer me! I swear you did anything to her!
I can't believe you guys had this up to yours. Why do you think I have Cool Fyra's guitar?
'Cause you're her mom?
No.
Her best friend?
No.
Her babysitter?
No, May, she's—
I'm Cool Fyra. You nitwits!
That, and during your entire crusade against NSR, you've only really powered the city just as much as them.
Output again? 47%? Gonna be easy to beat that derpy amount.
It's, still 47%.
Ha! Wait, what?
Oh, bravo! You sure showed me. Shall I go get the champagne?
Right to the exact number. You've become what you were trying to fight against. You fought, you rebelled, and you became the very corporation you were trying to fight against just because you wanted to justify your means. You wanted to... Alright, Cliff. Okay, so I forgot to mention Cliff because once you fight DJ Subatomic Supernova, he becomes your informant, basically, telling you everything that you need to know about each coming boss. And he has history with Cool Fyra just as much as May does, right? However, this cutscene really...
Don't flatter yourself too much. We saw the readings. The energy output those two knuckleheads produced is the same as ours.
Energy output? Energy output? Who cares about that?
Hey, I care!
Yeah, it's the reason we started this music revolution. It matters.
No, what truly matters is we get to see how wrong Miss Tatiana here really is. Do you finally understand how bad you treated me, Fyra. I used to be your biggest, #1 fan. And after we went through all that hardship, you simply gave up, took the easy way out. It was an insult to everything I believed in. You yanked my heart, crushed it, threw it away like a piece of rubbish.
I owe you nothing.
Warning. NSR satellite deorbiting sequence initiated.
Okay, well, time to give back to the people. Time to give back Vinyl City and save it due to Cliff's sickening fucking act. Seriously, this cutscene makes me want to violently smash an actual guitar. Thankfully, Tatiana does exactly as I asked.
You guys won't succeed. Your fans will make sure of it.
Please punch this man. Yes! Yes! This sequence requires you to give the power of the city back to their respective boss. And it's actually a really nice sequence of leaves turning over, and the way the music uses each boss's main tune in a more rock-centered way is simply beautiful. It's an easy sequence, just rock those transformers, and you'll eventually be on to the Grand Quasa. Throughout the long con, Cliff will try to coerce you into stopping what you're doing and using the worst kind of things imaginable. Note to anyone who's a fan or a follower of some kind, never become Cliff. Never become anything like Cliff. If anything, people akin to him are the most harmful kinds of people to any kind of artist. Aside from Cliff being a huge fucking shitter and impedes your progress from destroying the satellite meteor that's coming down to Vinyl City, Fyra doesn't help. And we're able to power the Grand Quasa for one last... You know what? I'll just let the game do it for me.
This is it! There's only one way to end this!
Come on, guys! All together now!
Wanda! Wanda!
The town is saved! Mayday feels she's not worth it. Tati Fyra comes out, reassures her, and works her up. Then, before she decides to leave entirely, she does something magical.
But I need to lay low for a while. This is a lot for me to process. I'm sorry.
Hey, Mayday! Catch!
Huh?
Literally passing the torch over to the next generation of rockers in her stead. Beautiful. Now, we get a lesson from Cool that people do their means of art for a variety of reasons.
It's a funny world we live in. You often get caught up in your own beliefs that sometimes you need to take a step back and see that the stage doesn't just belong to you. We're all in this together, and the sooner we acknowledge that, the quicker we can work towards a common goal. Everyone plays music for different reasons. Some do it for self-importance, some do it to bond with their loved ones, and some do it to understand their purpose in life. The important thing to know is this: there are no wrong answers. If we give everyone the opportunity to play their own music, we can build a world where creativity has no boundaries. Well,
and we're assured that peace and stability amidst the chaos has been brought to its knees, ushering in a new era where Mayday can rock and talk! This game is such a fun and engaging experience from start to end, from the music to the characters to the very concrete you walk through constantly. NSR is a great game with a lot to give for such a short runtime. Always rock on and never forget why you do what you do. Never let your way be clouded by other means. Keep whatever road you're on pure. Rockstar.